Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with RC Action Podcast. Myself, Mike San Antonio, along with on the right side there, you can see Chuck. In the middle, we have for the first time from Toronto, Ontario, Faraz Majid. Faraz, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, Mike?
Chuck, how's it going?
Oh, it's good. It's good.
We are doing episode 5 here, bringing, I guess, going into now the winter season for somewhat all through our cities. Vancouver, you don't really get much snow. If it is a snow, the city's closed down, right?
Yep. 1 centimeter, and it's an emergency.
Yeah, 1 centimeter. People don't know how to, but you guys got like crazy mountains and stuff like that, so it's really hard to drive up and down those mountains with if the road gets slick, right?
Oh,
And I don't think
to look at from the windows. That's it.
Yeah, and I don't think the city's really prepared for that craziness if something were to happen. Like I think last year or 2 years ago it happened where things got a little bit hectic down there and they just shut down the city.
Yep. Yeah, it's a state of emergency after 1 centimeter. Good for me. I just stay home.
That's awesome. So for our viewers there who don't know much about Faraz Majid, man, how long have we been friends for, Faraz? Oh my God.
Jeez. I think 2005.
I think so. Yeah, it's
2005.
been a long time. And where we met was the Tamiya series in Toronto when Ontario was having a massive Tamiya series. And as I promised Chuck last episode, I said I'm going to bring on a Tamiya guy for you. I brought him. Here he is. He's Mr. Tamiya himself. But yeah, I guess tell me for a little bit about yourself for the viewers that don't know much about you.
You know what? Okay, I'm going to talk. Hey, that first race that you were talking about, that was actually MRCC.
Right.
It was a Tamiya race right behind Loblaws.
Yes.
And that's where we met.
Yes. Yeah, that's where we met. Yeah.
Yeah. All the old guys, Chris Mateo, David Lamb, Francis Lee, Patrick.
Are all those guys still there? Are all those guys still around?
Don't see much. I don't see Patrick as much, but the rest of the guys, yes, definitely, they're still active.
That's cool. You guys are like hardcore guys still in the game. I'm still in the game. God damn.
Definitely. It's in the blood, man. It's in the blood.
I'm getting old real quick, too quick.
I think we all are.
And so what do you run for us?
Awesomatics. I run touring car and I run USGT. Okay. Those are the two of my favorites. Keep it stock.
Yeah.
It's been good. It's been good.
Yeah, and for the last little bit, you guys have had like basically on road almost all year, but with the Phoenix Club, right?
Yes, with the Phoenix Club. It was 20. It's 20. It's a track that is available for everybody. I mean, everybody's got a car. I mean, it doesn't matter what time you want to get into the track. I mean, you had plenty of access, right? So that track was always alive, and the people over. I mean, members, they're just great. Amazing place.
Yeah. The Toronto scene, when I was in it, I mean, there was a time where, and I don't know, Chuck, if I've ever told you this story, but there was a time where we had our private track, if you remember that, a long, long, long time ago. And it was a private track that we had all our stuff there. We all had keys to it. I don't know if you remember this, Faraz, but I think it happened like 2 years at this private track.
That was that the one close to Much Hobbies?
Yes, really close to Much Hobbies. Yes.
Yes, I remember that.
So Chuck, to give you an idea, this place was everybody had a key, and there was like 30 of us. And we all had a key to this place, and you can go there any time of the day. But the most busiest times of the day, every day, was 2 o'clock in the morning because everybody was done work, everybody was done family stuff, right? For us, I know I
Yes, I
caught you there.
remember.
Yeah, I caught you there
A
so
couple of
many times
times.
at two. Yeah, two.
Hey, I thought you were supposed to be at work.
Yeah, that's right. I remember actually one occasion was Christmas or New Year's Eve. I can't remember which one. And I was there practicing because all the family stuff on my end was done. And I said,
Yep.
"Screw it! Everybody's doing the thing. I'm gonna go to the track, open the door, go start doing some practice." 10 minutes later, I hear the door unlock, and it's Faraz unlocking the door, and we're like,
I
it's
remember that.
Christmas, man. Yeah, it's Christmas,
I
and we're
remember
both
that.
here.
I
But
remember
it was
that.
crazy. Yeah.
What
And then
were we running back then?
19 turn. I still have the motors, 19 turn and the NiCad, nickel metal hydrates, and
Oh,
four
man.
416s and
Was it
TA05s.
416s? I remember running
416s.
F1s too. The
Yes,
103s,
actually.
right?
Yeah, the
Yeah, 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 yeah.
103s. Yeah, yeah.
Good
Classic
times.
cars. Classic
Oh,
cars that
man.
are still good cars. Like, I don't
Plain
know,
and
like
simple.
you guys had in Toronto a Tamiya series.
Yes,
Um,
yes, we did. It's
and
been pretty good.
what cars were you guys using there?
We were running the mini class, the GT2 class, the GT1. So the
Okay,
GT2 was any tub chassis, right?
okay,
And the
okay,
GT1 was the TRF chassis. I mean, you could run
okay.
a GT2 car in GT1. You just got to change the tires and the motor.
Right. And then what was the motors that nowadays that they use?
So for the mini, it's 21.5.
Yeah.
And for GT2, it's US GT motors. And for GT1, it's open 21.5.
Open 21.5. And
Yeah, man,
Chuck did.
21.5 stock. Same as stock rules, TC rules.
Yeah. And is that relatively the same in like I guess the states and for you, Chuck, when you went to the TCS race?
So yeah, I did two TCS races this year, one in the spring and one in the summertime.
Right.
It was locked. Yeah, it's the spec motor, which is the Reedy locked Enbel 21.5.
Right.
GT1 used the 17.5 version of the Reedy locked Enbel.
Oh,
I think
interesting.
they're changing it though for 2025. They're gonna go to Hobbywing, so
Right.
we'll see
Huh.
what happens with that. But yeah, 21.5, like for as I was saying, for most of the classes. But GT1, it's a 17.5 locked in or whatever they spec as the motor, which was cool because yeah, having run TCS like just like you guys back in the day, I used to run it as well,
Right.
which was annoying for me because like I think back in the day the spec motor was like an element or a peak. Um,
Oh, the
Peak.
P
I remember
motor.
that.
Yes, that's
The
right. The
Dynasty.
P
I was,
motor.
I was running
Yeah.
chameleons, so I was like, man, I gotta go out and buy this new motor, which
Right.
you know, it was part of the game. It was part of it, and I was running I think GP 3300s, but I had to buy the spec Tamiya battery, so
Right.
you know, but
Peak
Yeah.
it's
performance.
all part of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and what is the GT1? What would you guys say is the GT1 car that's competitive today?
oh,
Is it
421,
the 421 for
100%.
sure, eh? But
421,
Yeah, for
and
100%.
then
sure.
and then the GT2 would be the TAO5 still, or
A couple of guys still run the O5 because it's such a good car.
It
Yeah.
is. It is. I'd say
Outside
that.
on asphalt, TA08, 100%. It's so flexy. On
right?
asphalt, it's a great car, but on carpet, oh man, you're in for some bad news with a car that flexy on black carpet.
And,
That's true. I've tried
and
it.
for us, sorry, what did you say you're running for GT2?
For GT2, I don't have a GT2 car
Oh, okay.
this year, but GT1's on the bells.
Yeah.
Got it right here.
Oh my God! Wow.
I got the 421 and just building it and just trying to source someone who could build me an aluminum chassis for it because they haven't
Right.
released an aluminum chassis for it as yet. So I'm
Wait,
trying to.
is that allowed now in TCS for it to? Or I guess you guys are separate.
Well,
'cause
it's
you guys
our
are
club
doing your own-
rules, right?
Yeah,
Exactly. We allow.
yeah.
I mean, they allow that
But
in the track.
but TCS, I'm assuming, doesn't still allow all that.
Same old
That
thing. Yeah.
same.
It's hard to
Same old
make
thing.
parts, and you can't
Right.
like cut holes in the parts type of thing.
So
Back in
you're
the day, like, I
saying
used to run like Swiss cheese in my TAO3, and then they're like, "No, you can't do that."
so you're saying I can't boost my Mini? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No boost on the Mini. You try. You know, it's only cheating when you're caught, right?
You want to have fun with the Mini? You got to come down to Phoenix.
Well, do you guys still run Mini hardcore or
Oh yeah.
how is it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we got well, the legendary Chris Mateo,
Yes.
who's never lost a mini race. I mean, that guy, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
He sees
Yeah.
lines that we don't.
He's
That
still
guy's
like
fast.
that, eh? Yeah, he was
He's still
was
like that.
fast back then when I was there. He was
Yeah,
like
he's
he was already fast. That's crazy.
gotten a lot
So,
faster, but yeah, I race with him all the time.
but one thing I missed totally from TCS was the Nitro class. Now, I don't know, Chuck, if you ever did the TG10 class, but man, did I battle with Faraz against Faraz so many times in the TG10 Nitro class. All the electrics was just kind of like time filler. Do you know what I mean? But Nitro was our thing. That's where we like. That was,
It was
where
everything.
our 100. Yeah, it was our. It was everything.
Oh man,
100%.
Yeah.
the smell.
I've
Yeah.
been running the well, I don't have it anymore, but I ran the NT1 because we still run Nitro in Vancouver.
Oh right.
Oh, yeah?
Right.
I never got into the TG10 because I was like, when I compare the TG10 to my NT1, it's like
It's different. I mean, I've
Oh.
had the NT1 too. I mean, it's an amazing car. It's one of my favorites. But back in the day, just experience running. I mean, having a stock class, like it's the same car. There's only so much you can do with it. But each one of us giving it everything and trying to compete, it was fun. It was amazing.
You know, and for me, and it still happens in off-road, but on-road is a different gangster, I'm gonna say, is because there's a second gear on the on-road nitros. And in TG10, if you got second gear and can keep that wooden bobsled together at the end of the straight, like, because the TG10s aren't anything miraculous like an NT1
Nope.
from X-Ray, nothing like my Serpent 720s. I love my 720s, everybody knows that. But
Oh, yeah.
the TG10 reminds me of like that Jamaican bobsled team, and that thing just rickety, just ready to just go. That's the TG10. If you could keep it together for 5 minutes and run that car, and what's funny, the TG10, when you put like a good motor in it, I found the car would explode. But if you took like a basic OS engine that was like a little bit, yeah, you'd be almost perfect to race that car.
Yeah, that will like run forever.
Yes, I had a Pico in my 720, and one of the races that me and Faraz went to, I said, me and my dad at the time, my dad was my pit guy, and he said, let's put the Pico in, and damn, I didn't survive the first qualifier. And I said to my dad, let's put that dumb OS engine in. And I still have that engine today. And it's the most basic, non-powered engine. And boy, that thing is a rocket for TG10,
What was that model? Was it that OS? I can't remember that name.
Was it
I
the
think
CV,
it's
the one with the red head?
No. It's a blue head. I think it was CV or TZ or something like that.
CVX or something. Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's a square head, right?
Yes,
The
yeah.
V square, yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
absolutely junk motor, but it's the only thing best in that
Nothing's
TG10.
reliable.
Yeah. And one of the races that I went to, Faraz, I can't remember if you were there. Yes, you were there. It was raining. And in TCS rules, they don't care until there's standing water. And this was at John's hobby shop, like John's photo and hobby shop down in Woodbine, Toronto area. And it was
Yeah, yeah.
absolute downpour. And so all of us are wrapping our controllers, wrapping up our receivers. Faraz, you're laughing because you remember this. And I remember very clearly my dad said to me, you know, we got to do something. We got to be able to drive through rain. And because they're foam tires, it was open foam. My
Oh,
dad
you can
said,
put a foam on a TG10.
yes, yes. And my dad said, let's cut grooves in the tires. And
I remember
Faraz,
that.
yeah, and Faraz said, "Yo, man, what are you doing over there? What are you doing?" I sure, and I said, "Nothing, man. I'm just cutting new tires." And I was trying to not show that I was cutting grooves in my tires. I ended up winning that one because like it was just heavy down. Everybody's just sliding. It was ice. It was crazy. And then
That
another
was yeah.
story. Yeah. And then another story with Faraz, which I kind of tell people all the time. And Chuck, I might have told you this, but maybe not to our viewers. But I think it was one of the finals, if I'm not mistaken. And because the finals, the way the races had ended up, you needed to place top three in order, obviously top three, and it's the accumulated points throughout that finals day. Well, because I went in so far back in points, Faraz was actually battling for third and second. And Faraz, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was two brothers that were first and second, and I can't remember their name right now. What was their
Phylam,
name? Yes.
Phylam, and I can't remember his brother's name, but I know one of them was Phylam.
Yes. And
Yes.
and Faraz said to me, Mike, you need to hold them for me. I need to catch up. and so Faraz and I had a plan. True or false, right, Faraz? This was a real story, right?
True.
So we had a plan. We said we're gonna stand by each other on the driver's stand. My dad's gonna pit for both of us, right? And then what happened was on the start, Faraz is now battling for second and second in the race. I think third. I want to say third overall in the standings, but has a chance to go first and win this all. Okay, and Faraz is standing. We're standing beside each other, driving the crap out of these two cars, and I guess screwed up as usual. Turn one, you know the incidences in turn one. They always happen. If you're at the back, I was at the back. Faraz is in the front. The guys in the front took off. I'm way in the back, and Faraz says to me, "Mike, where the hell are you right now? Where are you?" And I said, "Faraz, don't worry. I'm gonna get up there." And I remember the announcer is true, right, Faraz? You remember this?
Yeah.
I remember the announcer yelling and screaming, Phylam in first, second place, and third place for us, and fourth place. And Mike San Antonio going from 8th to 5th. Oh my God. And I said, Faraz, just calm down. I'm going to get there. So I finally catch up to fourth place right behind Faraz, and now I'm following down the line, okay? And suddenly, I don't know what happened between you and Phylam or the other brother. Those two had done a Y and split, and somehow I got in the middle, and I was in front of both of them now. And I said to Faraz, okay, here we go. You're going to take off on the count of 3, because obviously now I was going to block a little bit, just play a little bit of blocking game.
Elbows out.
Yeah, elbows out. That's right. And what ended up happening, I count to 3. We finally hit the straight. and Faraz takes off, and suddenly he does not turn right in turn one. And I said, "What the hell just happened?" And he goes, "I lost my servo. I lost my
Oh,
servo."
man.
Oh man, it was the craziest race. My
Oh
dad,
man.
my dad, who was our pit guy, was losing his marbles. He was just yelling and screaming at both me and Faraz, "Go, go, go, go!" Oh, he was just losing it, absolutely losing it. But the excitement of Nitro on road with the second gear, and when you have 3 or 4 guys going down the straight, and that second gear hits, and everybody's second gear is different because it's wherever you adjusted it or left it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And when you see that second gear, it just snaps and goes really quick to the end, and then you realize, man, I got to hold brakes real quick now. Now I'm on
It's a
second gear.
shaft car too, right? So the reaction is so different.
Yeah, massively different, massively different. But yeah,
Oh,
that
man,
was
those were fun days.
that was one of my probably my most funnest race, even though I was in the back, because just fighting up there. I remember the announcer just losing his marbles because I just kept dropping positions because I'm so desperate to catch up to Faraz and the leaders just to help Faraz out. But yeah, man, I think you ended up with second that year or third that year. I can't remember.
I think it was third. I think it was third.
third. Yeah.
Yeah. Started and finished third.
Yeah.
That was good.
And the nice thing about those Tamiya races back then, TCS, it was like all over. It was like parts of Toronto, Kingston, Ontario, Ottawa. I'm trying to remember. There was so many other cities that were involved in that. And
I remember going to Kingston. And then we used to do what was that track in Oakville? Was it Fast Cats?
Fast Cats,
yeah,
my
Fast
favorite.
Cats.
My favorite, yes.
Yeah. We had that, and then we had MRCC. We had DRCC, right? A couple of outdoor tracks back in the day.
Right.
Yeah, there was a few tracks out there. There was a track in Hamilton too, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was a track in Hamilton that did sell on-road nitro gas as well. That same track, and I never went to it, but I always heard about this amazing track, and I never got out to it back then.
I've heard a lot of good things about that place too. Yes.
Yeah. And speaking of like tracks in Toronto, what do you guys got now in Toronto? What's going on down there?
Well, the closest track to us right now, because Phoenix is out of commission for time being, is Rose City. But based on what the owners tell us, Edwin and Philip, they say we'll probably be able to score a track somewhere next month. Yeah, they've got a couple of locations, and they're just trying to get all the legalities done.
Right. And the place you guys had at the Phoenix, like I've never been, but it looked like an amazing place. I followed it on Facebook and stuff like that. It looked like an amazing place to be.
Oh man, it's an amazing place. I could say the people make the difference. I mean, we got a good bunch of guys racing over there, and Philip and the crew, Edwin, sorry. These guys, they went through a lot to bring the whole community together, and even go as far as getting Mark Reinhardt down here.
Yeah, that was huge that you guys did. How was
big.
Watching him?
Big.
Yeah. How was it watching those guys go at it?
Unfortunately, I didn't get to see him perform because I was away. I was on vacation. Sucks.
Oh, that's hurtful. But those guys are gonna come back twice as bad, twice as big, which is good. I hope
true.
Those guys get that track back together and.
No, we definitely will. We definitely will. It's just basically, like I said, finalizing everything, and once it's confirmed, and it's ready to go. So
Right.
we should be up and running hopefully by next month. Looking forward to it. Got the RC itch.
Yeah, and I think I was just reading online like a couple days or like a week ago that the Canadian Nats are coming back. I think they announced some dates for the Canadian Nationals down there.
Yes, I believe. I think it's the third week of March. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe
20th.
so. And I know you've been to that race. What's that race like?
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. I was there for the last one. It was lovely. I mean, Mark Fichet did an awesome job as usual. There's a lot of drivers over there. Got to meet Alexander Hadberg.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Right, and there was some good drivers over there, and it was an amazing event, well put together. I mean, pre-COVID, the last race I went to was record breaking. If I'm not mistaken, it was like the largest race, and then COVID happened, things happened. They lost the place. Now they got another place, and it's getting up there again. It's good. It's nice to see everybody come in.
And I guess, because there is a lot of racers that come to that event. Well, what's track conditions like come Sunday? Is it really high bite?
Sunday, definitely high bite by I'd say mid-morning. Yeah, you got some high bite by then.
Is it like everybody's traction rolling and stuff like that?
Yeah, what kind of traction compound is used at Welland?
They use STX.
Okay, yeah.
STX. Really?
Yeah. What do you guys use around there?
In Vancouver here, we use TDK because that's like non-toxic.
Yeah, we've used that. Yeah. We used to use that in Phoenix before, and they're pretty good. They're pretty good. I don't know why these guys don't use STX or TDK anymore over here, but it's probably something to do with stock, I guess, or access.
Yeah, I find that they don't mix. I tried running SXT on my car when they had TDK on the track, and it just didn't work. I found that it didn't mix.
Yeah, it was funny. I got to read a brochure from TDK, and one of the things they say is that the formula needs to completely dry from the tire, and it's not good if it mixes onto the carpet. So yeah, it's really weird when I read this thing, and I was like, holy jeez, I didn't even know about this stuff. But in Calgary,
I do I find my car stickier with SXT versus TDK, but it's the stock, it's the spec compound that we got to use in Vancouver. So
yeah, in Calgary, most of our guys are using SXT, but I and a couple of other guys have started to change to the much more stuff. And the much more stuff, to be honest with you, goes on real light, but it dissipates real quick, and your traction, like that first when you drop your car, it's almost like half a lap and you're good to go. It's really interesting stuff.
Does it evaporate off the tire really quickly too?
Not. I would say yes or no, and the reason why yes or no is if you put it on, because it has a dabber, and like a bingo dabber it comes with, not like the SXT with a swab. And when you have that bingo dabber, it goes on pretty light, but if you obviously do a couple of runs of it, it gets on pretty heavy, but it does dissipate. I would say at least half the tire for me dissipates at just before, just after 5 minutes.
So yeah, that's interesting because like SXT doesn't dry very quickly. I do find that the much more or the much stuff. It reminds me a lot of Niftec. I don't know if you've used Niftec.
Yeah, yes,
I've used it. Yes,
yeah,
that's been way back.
Yeah. And the thing for me, like, the reason why I started to kind of move to it is not only for the traction, but I noticed my table was like a lot less dirty and my pit board wasn't friggin' wet. You know what I mean? That's the part that drives me absolutely
That's what I
bananas,
liked
especially
about it. Yeah, and
yeah,
also
especially
SXT and TDK would just leave my table like into a mess.
yeah, yeah, and especially the pit board that I stole from Chuck that I'll never give back again. That Chuck sees every time he comes to Calgary. I don't like to mess up that board because that's my out board. That's my outside board.
So what do you
But
run
yeah,
in? So what do you guys run? I mean, like Mike, Chuck, what do you guys run as far as when the indoor season starts, or is there a season?
Yeah, we've got an indoor season in Vancouver. It's Black Carpet CRC Fast Track 2, which is the standard now. We were one of the first in Canada to adopt to it, actually, as well. And for myself personally, I run XQ11 for touring stock and also for USGT. We call it scale spec in Western Canada. But yeah, it's a USGT.
it's a USGT, yeah.
Yeah.
And then for me, I run goddamn like my number one class is mod. I think my second class has lately been USGT for on road, and then third class is stock. If I do 3 classes and the event's massive, but my son, who's actually today's his birthday actually, he
Wow.
drives. Yeah, he's 7 now, and oh Jesus, and he drives Mini, and he got me into Mini last year. I think it was just the problem with me and me, I just start laughing too much because you're just having too much fun. Not like mod where you're concentrating so deeply. You with Mini, you just kind of laugh all the time and hit each other and then run away kind of thing. It's
Yeah,
fun, but
I remember
but
those.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But I think this year I'm not going to do Mini. Let my son take over that class if he can.
It's going to be
But
different for us, though, in Vancouver. USGT, we're switching to a locked 21.5 NBEL. So anyone's choice. They can run the Just Stock. They can run the Reedy. I think the Orca motor is coming out very shortly as well. But they've opened it up so anyone can run a fixed timing motor for USGT. So, which will be nice because everyone's got some sort of motor, whether it's the Gravity or the Reedy or whatever.
yeah,
And we'll see how it all plays out this year. And then, yeah, also with tires too. Tires are going to be different. For the longest time, it's always been the ride tire, which is under several different names. It's the ride tire.
the
It's
Gravity.
also called the Gravity USGT
Yeah.
spec. And we're going to try the Rush tire as well. So now we can try 2 different tires, the ride tire and then the Rush tire as well. The Rush tire is sold by under different names as well, by Express and also by Much More Racing. And then there's a third tire that I tried in the summertime on asphalt. It was really, really good. Sweep also makes a treaded tire.
Yeah.
So there's actually 3 different types of spec USGT tires now. We're going to try allowing 2 of those tires at our indoor racing in Vancouver.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So the ride tire, which has been around forever, there's actually 2 variations of the ride tire. There's the belted and then the non-belted.
Yes.
Right.
Right. And
What'd you prefer?
And I've switched to the belted tire because it's a lot more consistent. The non-belted one is great for the first several runs, and then the tire turns into a balloon.
Oh wow!
True.
Really?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll see how the Rush tire goes. But in the summertime, I did try the Sweep tire, and I was really happy with the Sweep tire. So yeah.
And by the way, speaking of outdoor for us, do you guys have outdoor down there too, or has that stopped?
We do. No. There's some outdoor tracks out there, but unfortunately, I don't run outdoor. I mean, I don't race buggies, so not.
Well, sorry. If there was on road too as well down there when I was still there, I don't know is it's still the same or not.
You guys have parking lot stuff in Toronto?
Oh yeah. When I was
yeah.
there was Toronto stuff. Like the Home Depot was when I left. It was at a Home Depot on, I don't know. Jesus.
Yeah. Because
Was it on Dixon?
Right by the airport, so it's
No, that was in Etobicoke.
No,
That
it
was Fast
downtown.
Cats.
No, no, no. There was a yeah, but it was a Home Depot that they used to race at outdoor just before I left, and it was north of like you're near Yorkdale, near Yorkdale. That's it.
Close to the 427.
Yeah, closer to 427. Yes.
Yes, I remember that one.
So
Yeah,
do you
that,
guys
that went
have?
on for a while.
Yeah, do you guys have any more pavement like on road down there right now, or no?
Well, we got a bunch of us. We run. There's this place close to Patrick's old place where Much Hobbies used to be. We run there every Saturday. There's this open parking lot over there. A bunch of us go there and we run 17.5s, mods, whatever.
Right,
And there's a couple of
right.
Tamiya guys on the other side who run the Tamiya TTO2s and stuff like that. So there's a
Okay.
couple of guys out there during the summer.
I've seen some of those videos on Rex RC. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty neat.
You guys like
Uh,
yeah, because you guys have like a massive, even on road or off road. You guys have a massive scene down there. In Vancouver and Calgary, we're kind of like struggling with our little scenes, but you guys got pretty big scenes and lots of people racing at these events.
yes,
Yeah.
I mean, as far as on road's concerned, the biggest event is obviously the Canadian Nats.
Right.
And as off road's concerned, I know there's a lot out there uh, between, I'd say, Marshall all the way down to St. Catharines. There's a lot of tracks out there. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't race off road, so
Right.
I won't know what the application is.
And I guess for upcoming events right now, you guys are like, as I said, for Toronto, you guys have that Canadian Nats, but Vancouver, Chuck, what do you guys have upcoming?
Yeah, Overgear Racing. The indoor season is going to start later this month. I think the 28th, 29th. So that will be our first indoor date. And then also indoor off-road is going to start as well in October. That's Outlaw RC. They're going to
Right.
have their big trophy race in the middle of or I guess the end of November. So that'll be a good one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, here in Calgary, we've been trying to end our off-road season because the weather just keeps getting worse. And then it's funny, Monday to Friday, when we usually race Sundays off-road outdoor here, you know, usually Monday to Friday's perfect weather, and then Sundays like heavy downpour, just soaking our
Yeah.
track.
What's going on with your city? Like you have
Oh,
rain, but you have a water shortage.
yeah. Yeah, well, I think last year was a water shortage and now we're catching up to it. I don't know. But in Calgary, we're going to be starting soon. September 29th is when we have the track set up. I'm just looking at the dates here. And then we start carpet on October the 4th is our first Friday race. And then our Sundays, basically every other Sunday works out to is October 6th is our start. And then I'm actually putting together a RC Swamp Meet here in Calgary. For those of you guys who are watching who are interested, we're having an RC Swamp Meet. It's our second one. I did one just at the beginning of uh, at the beginning of the summer, and now I'm doing another one this season. So for those viewers who are watching, if you're interested, watch out. It's going to be October 13th. If you're on most of the Facebook forums, there's a lot of ads that I put out for our RC flea market swamp meet kind of thing, which is cool. The swamp meet kind of brings up different people from different avenues, and
Yeah.
it was funny because I had put the first one together, and it brought out a lot of RC car guys, but what I didn't expect was semi trucks that came. And boy, do these guys with semi trucks, beautiful trucks, almost $3,000 into these trucks, like honking the horn and all kinds of stuff. It was cool to see. And they were all driving them in and around the area. It was kind of neat to see. But we brought boats, planes. People brought planes. It was all kinds of stuff. So it was a nice mix of everything RC. and then other people kind of like started to go, hey, I got a car, but let me try a plane or let me try a boat. So
It's true. There's a lot more to RC than just the racing. Like there's the scale
yeah,
guys who have those semi trucks. There's crawling. There's drifting as well. So yeah, I
right,
get it. Yeah.
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 Especially look at what you do, Chuck. Like the 2 millimeter RC, you kind of do all this other kind of stuff about anything kind of
And the
nice,
RC
I would
related.
say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did
anything
a video
RC
on my
related.
my TXT Juggernaut. So I got a Juggernaut.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. The old Juggernaut monster truck.
Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah.
And Chuck, you got to show the viewers what you just got. You just
Oh,
showed it to us before we went online.
okay.
That's
No. So
pretty wild.
this is something that needs to be built.
Dave Roberts, we need your help here. We need your help. We're gonna need you to build this.
Yeah.
So, I guess
Like,
what
how does it work though? If you could let the viewers know. So you have a club race on Friday, and then 2 days later you have another club race.
Yeah, so basically, I would say Friday nights is and I always like to say this, it's a different type of atmosphere. A lot of guys, it's more so mod and stock. Speaking of the past, I don't know what this year is going to be, but it's mostly mod and stock on or 12 scale and one other class or something like that on Friday nights, and then on Sundays, because we start in the morning at like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, it's a little more relaxed atmosphere, and the real focus is around mini and USGT. Um, at the end of last season, we started to see more people start hopping into stock, and we started creating a stock on Sunday as well. But generally, I would say it's a more relaxed atmosphere for Sunday, and Friday nights is like go 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 because we got to get out of here before 1 o'clock in the
So that's cool and that's interesting. Like, from my experience. So like a Friday is like I'm a grown adult. I'm going after work, and my goal is to get my qualifiers in, get my runs in, and then I'm gonna go home.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's kinda cool. It's very, very professional, and then Sunday is when you can, like, lay back and, like,
yes, and I'll tell you the real kind of thing I noticed about last year's Sundays is all the guys who knew a little bit more of what they were doing, they were like stepping back from the race end of things and helping out the newer guy. And that was the focus. And a lot of us kind of like a lot of us kind of teamed up with newer people and said, okay, I'm going to teach you, you stick with me. So all of us were in little groups trying to help these newer people get into the stages where they are at now, which is a lot of them are into stock and USGT, which is great. Um, and that's what the hope is, and the gain is that we continue to bring up the hobby, because the hobby seems like it's unfortunately starting to get older, but no newer people are coming in. Like for example, us three, we've been in this hobby for so long, but there's
Too
not many
long.
new people. Yeah, too long. There's too
Yeah.
many of us old people, but not enough
Yeah.
newer people, right? And so the focus became, let's send around the new people, get them into this, because as I know all three of us can agree, it is so hard in the beginning to understand RCing. It is, once you get the drive line and you get, okay, when I drive away from myself, I drive the opposite, all that fun stuff. When you start getting into the setups and trying to make your car run like, the top guys, your frustration level goes through the roof, right? So our main focus on Sundays is those guys, and we all like all of us from the like I'll say all of us from the Friday night guys go to Sundays to go help out these newer people, and then go, okay, we want to see them get better and better and better, and that's because it's going to make more competition for us too, right? Which is great. And it's
100%. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and sometimes that's what missing from the hobby is the growth of new people, right? And it's so tough with
Agree.
today's technology. Like I don't know about Faraz, your son, but my son, Jesus, I can't get him off that tablet. And I talk about it all the time. But when I get him to go race, he'll go race, but then he'll want his tablet like the second he comes off the driver's set. You know what I mean? So, and it's just like the kids we used to see, like younger when I was in Toronto too. Same thing. And some of those kids
True.
came out to be one of the top drivers, in North America.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I was lucky enough. I did get my son to come out with me. I mean, Mike, you remember? I think he was around 4 years old or 5 years old when we first took him to that track. Where's that? Big Boys.
Yes.
Oh, Big Boys is still around. Yeah, that's right.
Mississauga. Yeah.
Mississauga. Yeah, that track. And Red RC. Yeah, that's what I got him. Sorry, a Red Cat. That's what I got him.
Right.
And then he used to run that, and he got better. He got better as time went by. I mean, I switched him to an Automatics towards the later stages, but he was doing good. And then it's just, you know what, kids nowadays, they just don't stick to one thing. I mean, they keep changing. I mean, when he was running RC, and he wanted to try other things. Going like, "Hey, Dad, I want to try playing the guitar. I want to try playing something else."
Right.
You know, and it just kept changing, and I had to let him. I can't force him. Hey, you know, come to the track. You know, let's have some fun. Let's race and stuff like that.
Yeah,
things change and people change, and it's just the interest is different.
Yeah, their attention span is different, and that's why I think the
100%.
Growth of the RC community, the young community, is so important, and so that's what we focus on Sundays, anyways. Is growing that community bigger and bigger. Because, and Chuck, I used to say this. I remember the first time I came to Car years and years ago when I moved to Calgary and decided, hey, I'm going back to RCing. And I remember watching you and Ivan and the several other guys, and I was just like, man, these guys are good. There's no way I'm going to get to this level. And I remember, coming home my first night, and I remember, Chuck, you had come up to me, Ivan Chan had come up to me and said, hey, man, how's it going? You're a Tamiya guy. Wow, Tamiya is all over the place. And it's because I had the 317s, Faraz, that you know about.
417s.
And I remember Chuck said, yeah, you're a Tamiya guy. That's cool. And I said, yeah, man. And the most, I guess, the fear is when you go into a venue and you watch all these guys and they're just like so fast and so accurate, and you're just like, man, I'm never gonna get there. That's it. Like I give up, and that's where I see a lot of the frustration was happening at Car, and that's what Sundays was all about, was make them feel comfortable. Don't worry about it. Like Chuck's whole theory on life, don't worry about it. We're gonna get you there.
Don't worry about it. It's all good.
Don't worry about it. It's okay.
I built a $100 car on the way to a race, and that was awesome.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a Sakura back in the day.
Oh, God.
Wow.
And it was like,
wow.
Mike's driving, and I'm like wrenching, like.
For us, he was putting a kit together in the passenger seat of my car while we're driving to Vancouver. That was crazy.
Oh.
That's how crazy this guy is. Nuts, absolutely nuts. And then he used it for what class? I think it was.
I used the same car for two classes for.
Oh yes, that's right.
USGT and for tourist stock. I would just change the tires and the.
Yeah. What'd you end up doing?
That's okay. I think I got one. There was like D main, so I made it to C main in one, and I think B main in USGT.
Yeah.
All right.
But because we had to take the ferry from Vancouver to what is it? Where was that again?
Yeah, we went to Victoria. Drove to Victoria.
Yeah. And because we got on the ferry, that's when Chuck started to panic and said, the car's still not built. And now there was three of us, because there was three of us together, Dave Roberts, who was with us, and we were all building different parts of the car on the ferry. Now that, we're just sitting on the ferry waiting for it to get to
the tires. Now we're going to glue the tires. The boat is like rocking back and forth. forth.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You know, for those of you who are watching, if you get into RC life, this is an example of my RC life. It was Faraz for how many years, and now for going forward, it was Chuck for how many years. And there's stories that we all three can just go through, but some of them will probably be no good to talk on this podcast.
When are you guys coming down to Toronto?
You know,
Canadian Nats sounds like a good idea. Well,
Yeah.
I'll see how my schedule
The
works
Nats.
all right.
Yeah.
So here it is
You
on
know.
the podcast. I'm going to let you know. We're all going to try to go to Canadian Nats and meet you, Faraz, there, and then battle and hopefully get some battles between us three.
Oh, that'll be awesome. That'll be awesome. That'll be
And
crazy. How cool will be that?
You know what? I'm going to put it out there now for those who are listening on the podcast. Chuck and I are building Western Canada to come invade the Canadian Nats. How about that? How about that? I think that would be cool. Anyways, before I end this episode, here's one question I have for you first, Chuck. Chuck, what was your favorite RC car?
What was my favorite RC car?
Beyond everything, top best one.
TLO1
overall.
100%. TLO1.
TLO1 Tamiya. How did I know that was coming out?
TLO1. You only need one type of screw. It's that one Phillips screw, and you only need one type of ball bearing.
Yeah, just like a Honda. You just need a 10 mil and a Phillips screwdriver, but in a TLO1, it's just a Phillips screwdriver. One size fits all.
That's it. The front arms are the same as the back arms. It was great.
Yeah. And when something breaks, don't worry, you've got the other side that's still there. It's fine. And Faraz, what about you? What's your number one overall best car of your life?
Jeez, that will be hard. As far as Tamiya is concerned, I would say the TB Evo 4 MS. Love that car.
That's a nice car. That is I've never been rich enough to own one of those cars, so I don't know what they're like to own.
Come on, Mike. You probably had a few of those.
and I guess non-Tamiya for us. What's non-Tamiya?
The Awesomatics.
Awesomatics. What about you? What about you, Chuck? Non-Tamiya.
Overall, it has to be the X-Ray, the T1. That's the car that
T1
revolutionized.
I remember that. I had one.
Yeah.
It totally changed how I looked at cars, because before that it was like, I got my TLO1, I got my TAO3, and then I bought X-Ray T1
that was
the factory kit. Holy, I was like, this is different.
Didn't you buy
Mike, those were like? Sorry, there was.
Go ahead, Faraz.
No, those were like Fast Cats RC Champ days.
Yes, that's right. Didn't you just buy one of those too, Chuck? Like a couple of years ago?
Yeah, so I buy old cars and I restore them and I put them online as videos and pictures and stuff. I restored a factory, like a T1 FK 04 recently. Well, recently meaning like what, 2020? I guess. Wow, that's 4 years ago. Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Oh man, I still remember it like yesterday, just soldering those batteries side by side and making a saddle pack. Yeah.
So for me, for on-road, we're not going to talk about off-road because it seems like you guys are only talking about on-road cars. For off-road, for on-road, I'm going to say my overall best car I've ever owned in my life is the 720 Serpent, which was very close to the NT1. The 720 for me.
You know what? Yeah. If I was to say something, I remember you running that, and that was amazing. I think I saw you last run that front of a place on Texan.
DRCRC. Yes. Yes, I raced it there very often because it was down the street from my house. But man, I loved that car. I still have my two cars. I still have all parts of it because that's my car, and that's the car I said I'm going to see Chuck in Vancouver
Gotta come
eventually.
down here. Come down
Yeah,
here and run it.
yeah.
We still got Nitro Touring. It's happening.
Oh
And
man.
and for electric, you know, I don't know. To me, to be honest with you, it's between two cars. If it's to me, it's TA05. I love my 417s. I still have all 10 of my 417s here. Okay. And I'll tell you, Faraz, if you're ever looking for 417 parts, I've got it. But all my
All
10
right.
chassis are here. But my TA05 is my one of my most favorite cars because it was so fun to drive throughout the Tamiya series, throughout like the Wix series when I used to ride that in Wix series. And then if it's anything recent, it has to be the Awesomatics because the Awesomatics is just mind blowing car right now. It is still the mind blowing car. I'm waiting to see this new RC Maker car and see what it's like, and see what it's like on the track. But man, the Awesomatics just blew my mind. I was happy with X Ray, but the Awesomatics took it to another level and continues to take it to other levels, which is cool.
And if you guys ever tried the Awesomatics A700 series, the shaft drive,
Oh, back in the
Oh,
day.
oh my god. Oh my god. If I could find one, yeah. I wish
I
I
had them
could.
all. I still have a few, but yeah.
Oh my. Okay.
That's not going anywhere.
After this podcast, I gotta talk. I need one. No. Honestly, I always wanted to drive the shaft car. The shaft car, when it first came out in Awesomatics, I was leery. They called it here in Calgary the Money Matics because it was just gobbling up all your money. But
Yeah.
once the car got figured out, it drove like an absolute dream. I watched some of the
That
top
car is
guys.
just yeah.
Yeah,
It was amazing. They used to run mod with those cars.
Yeah, and that's a shaft-driven car, which I think is
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
I tried to run a shaft car last year in mod. It didn't work out very. I had an AT1, an express shaft car.
Yeah.
Good one.
It just didn't, you know.
Yeah. That's a pretty good car too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what? And I can't wait to see.
Yeah, it's a different level from the AT1, but not.
Yeah. I can't wait to see this year's on-road season because, truthfully, there's the Maker car. There's obviously, the release of the 800R from Awesomatics. So this year is going to be a good year, and I'm waiting to see what X-Ray really does, and if they do any major changes. But Awesomatics, and I think the Maker car. I know there's a Mugen car that's also out. There's all these other cars coming out, which is going to be. I think a really changing year in on-road this year, and see if the powers shift. But I'll tell you right now, I'm going to stick with some X because they obviously know what they're doing as far as on-road's concerned.
Definitely, I agree.
Yeah.
I got a museum up here.
Oh man. All right, so Chuck, any last words before we end this podcast?
Yeah, you can always see my videos on YouTube at 2MMRC. That's easy place to find me. Also, my Facebook page, Chuck, or 2MMRC as well. And
Awesome.
you can find some good info there. A lot of it is nostalgic. Some of it is good tutorials for people getting into racing. Yeah.
Yeah, just like the new battery one. I like that battery one you sent me.
How to restore an old NiCad, yeah.
Yeah, how to restore an old NiCad, yeah. Which was funny because I picked up a used boat a couple weeks ago, and the guy gave me a NiCad, and I'm like, oh, good paperweight, love it. But he had taped the end because I think the end was too thick. And I wanted to send him your video and say, dude, this is how you fix that battery. You know what I mean? Like, Faraz, do you have any last shout outs or comments?
No, I mean, this has been fun. This is my first experience with RC Car Action and your podcast, and it was good. It was a different experience. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I can't wait. Hopefully, all three of us can meet at Canadian Nationals and really duke it out on the car and tear up the track and see who goes backwards first. That would be kind of fun. But yeah, e- everybody for viewing. Thank you very much from me, Faraz Chuckington. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on the very next podcast.
Right on. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.